start off by saying what I always say, and it's always a praising of some sort. I need to start off by saying thank you, God, even though sometimes it's hard to be thankful to God, but I have to, because I just imagine myself doing the things these people do. As I'm going through what I'm going through, I know it's not going to get any better. I don't ask God to make it better. I just ask God to give me strength. That's how I look at this, because it's not even fair that there's people much more vulnerable than me going through this. So for me to ask for something to get better for me when it's terrible for others, much more vulnerable than me, I have to take that in conscious. And also, I'm thankful because I could have lived like this trash here. The reality of what's happened to me is so obvious. But these trash are doing everything possible to negate that. It's so done in regard of like try to make me think I'm not being altered one way or another, and then using this alteration to try to paint me as that. What you're seeing here is a woman who was one of many bipartisan who created a bill in 2019. She's one of many. There's Republican, there's Democrats that came up with a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act, or a bill of that nature. The reason why this bill was created is because the Department of Defense in the prior year of 2000, which was 2018, the Child Protective Services ranked it's a Child Protective Service specific for child porn. And so they reviewed the whole country network, internet network, computer networks, to track where the most child porn is coming from. And they find out that actually the Department of Defense is ranked at a top tier level. Out of all the network in the United States, the DoD network was up there. And that was not the first time. They've been consistently ranked high. Obvious trend of it. Obvious trend that there's a problem there. And so this thing for me has been such a validating reality, right? Because I don't know if you can capture the noise campaign that's surrounding me, around me, try to disorient me from this. But as a target individual, what's happening to you? Well, for a lot of target individual, I can speak for all of us target individual, because some of the target individual don't deal with that kind of manipulation, but a lot of us do. And I've noticed that there's a trend there. They have this ability to alter your brain, right? Your brain is being manipulated is actually something the DoD themselves have been putting effort for years. After the Korean War, this is what they've been doing. After the Korean War, they've been developing technology that not only can access your brain, but manipulate your brain. And this started around the 50s or so. And by even the 60s, they were able to do so much. Able to manipulate your emotions, your thought process. Not even the thought process, that came a little bit later on. But your emotion can make you have sexual arousals whenever. It was already so far. It's so long ago. And today, a lot of target individuals talk about how they're being manipulated. The technology literally rewires your brain. And then you hear the noise campaign. I don't know if you could capture somebody yelling around me. Then when they manipulate you, they have this ecosystem of trash, which are the perps, right? And their job is to get you to believe that what you've been experiencing is just an organic experience that they're just observing. When in truth is they are designing the experiences you're having and then try to gaslight you. What is gaslighting? The best thing about something I learned about gaslighting, I didn't know gaslighting was actually from a play from the 30s. Gaslighting, the term gaslight came from that, because in this play, a man was trying to drive the woman into insanity. So one way he did that is just dimmed off the gaslight, like literally the lighting, and then he will act like he didn't do it. And the woman will be like, what's happening here? And he act like nothing happened, like he didn't lower the light. And so she would start be like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my sight, or I'm not seeing, like, am I seeing something off? Why is it the, and all along he was just manipulating the environment in that sense. In this case, the gaslight. This is what gaslighting is. They do the same thing. They manipulate you in these degrading ways, and then they act like they're just observing you, just experiencing an organic experience. And that's why you hear the noise campaign. For example, you heard somebody slam the door and doing this, and they're supposed to be like, oh my gosh, we just saw that. This is the systematic tactics of making you identify with what they do to you. So they manipulate you, then act like they're just observing these experiences as if you're not being manipulated. Now, the manipulation they tend to be pedophilia centric. Why? Because they are trying to break you down. They're trying to push you into insanity using pedophilia type of torture. Then they utilize these clowns, like I said, to gaslight you. Like, oh my gosh, our girls. Because for example, they manipulated me toward little girls to have these experiences, the degrading experiences, playing my libido, creating some experiences that's just disturbing, sexual, and act like, oh no, our girls. And with me, they're like, no, this is the research. The research is just observing and just looking at it, and we're just doing the tests. And they come up with all kind of disturbing stupidity to make me think that they're just not doing this manipulation, but it's just researching, analyzing, and assessing this disgusting trash. And they try to do everything possible to make me identify with this. For example, this woman here is one of the people who came up with the bill, who wrote her and many others. This woman, during the signing of this bill, or talking about the bill, she had her like a 7-year-old girl, like holding her, because this bill was just trying to stop the DoD from using DoD computers. You're gonna hear it, to download, to share, and to access child porn. Because so much of it was being done, to the point where they're being ranked as top tier in regard of trafficking child porn, using DoD computers. Let me be specific: using DoD computers. They're not, these employees of the DoD were not going home using the computers. They're using the DoD computers to do that, using the DoD network, by the way. And so they need to do something, at least to look like they try to stop that, because this is becoming disturbing. Imagine using Pentagon computers to download child porn, to access child porn, and to traffic child porn. It's embarrassing, it's disturbing, it's disgusting. The least they could do is make it look like they try to do something to stop that. It's clear that they could have stopped that, but it's not a priority. So I think this was more of a way to present like they're doing something instead of actually doing something. Because since then, nothing's been heard. Nobody has been arrested. Nobody's been, there's none of this stuff have come up because of this bill. None of it. No employees of the DoD was arrested or anything, or at least heard of, for downloading child porn using DoD computers or sharing the child porn. Right now, they're making noise campaign because a while ago a general got arrested for raping his daughter. At that point, it was a grown woman who had children. So he's and the daughter at that point has been going for years trying to get her father arrested for what she was doing to her for a lot of her years when she was a child, and at that point she was a grown woman. So they think that's like the proof. This is a woman who's been fighting for years and years. A woman because it happened to her when she was a child, and as a grown woman, she finally got something after years. This is not the employees that would download child porn and doing all this. So nothing has come up, or at least nothing has been publicly said. Maybe something came up, but it's really been quiet ever since. But it's more of a statement than nothing, an actual change. And the truth is, we know that the DoD have enough resources to stop their employees from downloading child porn using computers given to them by the Pentagon. But that what it did for me is to understand that there's clearly obvious issue of pedophilia. And you have the people who are just these bottom feeders in this whole thing here. Because as target individual, what you should know is what you see around you are really the nobody. Their job is to make you identify with how you're being manipulated. They are nothings. They're not even probably employees of the DOD. They're not even employees of the government. They're probably even just contracted to a certain extent. They're nothings. Their job is clearly to gaslight you. I know that for a fact because some of them are fucking children. I'm like, gosh, they had to make it more obvious by bringing up these retards. So it's clear that their job is just trying to make noise campaign. They open the door, they open the door, like, yeah, he does. It's so theatrical, it's so obvious. Now they just did something disturbing, but they did it before. But they almost made my brain crash to try to make me imagine something that I wasn't even able to see. So then they were reverted to something I saw before, and then giving the stimulation they made me experience. This woman, in the day of the signing, there was like you'll see it. You see when they talk about what this woman was saying and her quotes, and I guess some people were individual wearing posters, holding posters say protect children or something like that. And there's something pink. I don't know if it was an actual person or a child or a child or a poster. I swear to God, they tried to make my brain felt. I felt like I was about to have a seizure because they were trying to make me imagine whatever that was in pink to be a child. I don't know if it was a child or not. I don't know because I just saw something pink and that was it. They started making me imagine a child. My brain felt like it was about to blow up. Now, because that was too obvious, what they went back to is when she spoke. She was holding her child, like I said, her 7-year-old kid, or some kid around that age, on her hip. The stimulation they made me imagine, they made me experience when I saw that, it was so disturbing, but they brought that back up. And they're like, yeah, no, we're just matching. We're matching. When it's clear that they are making my brain have this experience and wanting me to identify with this. These trash are top tier. Let me just say this. What's happening to us, target individual, is clearly coming from this massive government related to the DOD. It's not protectors of children. These trash are the entities that are a threat to children. And they want you as a target individual to think that what's happening to you is not them destroying your brain to make you imagine this, experience that, but it's them just assessing your brain. It is disgusting. And the gaslighting is extreme, but extremely obvious at the same time. Super extremely obvious. They look at me like, yeah, die pedo. I was like, yeah, right. We know it's the top tier pedophiles here. You delusional trash. Unfortunately, it's so hard for them to gaslight me at this point with the validation of this level. I mean, I've been validated by other target individuals say the same thing. I've been validated that they tortured literally children. That's why that's why I say thank you God and not like God save me from this. Because they literally harm children in this program. This is not something that's out here protecting children. They are literally killing children. Literally. Follow life. I'm being told actually that they're having children act like they're getting raped to frame me. And they say that they do that because they're protecting children. And then they try to find other ways to vilify. Like, I'm like, trash. You literally are involved in a program that torture children, kill children. You tell me that I'm not being manipulated, but you tell me that you're framing me with children. In every way, it's like they're validating you while trying to gaslight you. And then they want you to like look at them. I was on the call with this woman, and I was like, you're lucky I'm focusing on something else. The entitlement of some of these participants are so disgusting. To insult somebody, listen, for me at this point, gaslighting to me is not working. It only agitates me. It just makes me angry. It gives me rage. That's it. It just makes me think this trash deserves to fucking die. That's it. I think of them as like, these trash are actually the shit involved in this thing. These trash are actually this bottom feeders working for these governmental entities with these pedophilia centric issues. Top tier pedos in this country. And they think that I'll think that one, I'm not being manipulated, that two, they're protecting children. It's so disgusting. And the way they combat that is try to be more fanatical about it. I was like, this is never gonna happen. Can make me have seizures to try to manipulate my brain in this ways. That's what it takes for me to experience that. And they tell me how they hate me. I'm like, oh my gosh, talking about hate? Oh. It's not even hate what I have for them. It's something else. It's not even hate. Like, I know they're nothing. This purpose, I truly see them for the nothings, just to trash this governmental entities contract. I truly, from the next door clowns to these co-workers of mine, I see them truly for the trash, coward, fraudulent trash who failed at something that big time. For my brain to have this level of thought process and manipulation, I can literally feel my brain about to crash. I can almost feel like a migraine coming up because the intense manipulation of my brain is so intense that my brain is just like restructured. It will never happen. They want me to think that this trash working for these governmental entities, known for these tactics, capable of torturing children and killing children, are not doing what they've done to others. You know how they try to get me to accept this? One of these clowns was like, you're child pedophile, child pedo, you trash. The reason why they say that is because to make me identify with how I'm being manipulated today. They bring up what I did when I was in 8th grade as a child, try to exaggerate that. This inappropriate, impulsive act of an 8th grader, and tell me that what they're doing is my brain is being reconstructed back to me as a kid. And that's why I'm experiencing that. First of all, as a child, I didn't experience that. Second of all, can you imagine, like I said, to use this stupidity, this moronic level of logic, to make me think that I should identify with this because you make my brain the brain of a child. These clowns who clearly work for governmental entities that do these things to children, and some of this purpose are gaslighting me, and I think they purposely use children because they think that, oh, as children, I should be okay having children, or children should be able to have this stupidity, this moronic of logic. No, trash. They are being groomed to try to break down target individual. I say try because it's not working. Well, they break me down in the sense of my brain is being broke down. But they want me to think, nah, you're just a child pedo and making your brain back to child. Freaking retard. When there's trash out clearly working for top tier pedophiles in this country doing things to 2-year-old and 6-year-old. I'm talking about CIA agent, DOD employees and things of that nature. Then I hear some retard saying, nah, this child pedo, this piece of shit, by the way, this children are involved in a program that kills children, by the way. They want me to even skip that part. Not only they're pushing people to lose their mind, but they're literally involved in something that kills children. They harm children in this program. They want me to not only think of how stupid this, not think about how dumb they want me to be, but the death, the torture, the torment of children is being applied here. As they are also guinea pigs, because don't forget, one thing for sure, if you wonder why me, don't ask yourself too much that question. They need human subjects. This technology is being weaponized. Why you? Because they need test subjects. And the question would be, why not you? Because some of the test subjects are children. That's why these children saying these things, as stupid as it is, I put the gravity of the reality of what they're putting onto them. Because they are torturing little girls, babies, Little boys, they are dying, by the way. As these retards like, you're tapping, no, you're tapping. Fucking trash for all the babies dying and tortured in this program. Trash like you manipulate the brain in these ways. And then guys like me thinking that I don't know that you actually work for pedophiles. What you are here talking about, a tap no. Think for all the babies, all the women, all this vulnerable individual who've died in this program. Do you think I'm gonna let trash like you being groomed and being normalizing this thing? Oh gosh. The CIA agents out here raping 2-year-old, 6-year-old, while trash like is like, stop it up. As you manipulate my brain, almost making me have my brain crash to make me imagine these disgusting things. No. You think it's all fun, huh? Okay. No, you work for massive government pedo. And then as me, I know I'm being manipulated. By a pedo who bring up the stupidity and inappropriate act of a child. There's like, no, that's pedo. No, you know what's pedo? It's to download so much child porn that a bill was created. It's to rape a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. It's agent pretending to be children to bait a CIA agent driving interstate to try to have sex, or to going there thinking they're going to have sex with a child. It's download child porn. This trash are delusional trash in my brain. They try to bring up now about the worst type is retard trash. And the truth is, they think they can behave this way. These retards. That's why I have to be conscious that these people, some of them children, are not aware of the consequences of what they're part of. So I gotta make sure, I gotta make it worth it. But whatever it means. Meaning that they can understand, they have to understand. So let me just say that they will understand that what they're part of, they deserve to die for it. I'm not killing them, I'm not trying to kill them, but I'm just telling them, I'm just making sure they will understand. Let me just say this. I'm warning them that what they're doing, by whatever mean, death is the minimum. Death is the bare minimum of what they deserve. Now, am I the one who's supposed to do that to them? It's gonna be sorted. It's gonna be handled. Everything has its time. Now they hear children try to negate these top tier pedophiles, contracting them, making them feel so empowered and entitled. Things that's been done so long ago. I'm so thankful that it ended me knowing this reality. Now this retardation, that moronic thought process they want me to have to be identified with this trash. Thank you, just stay strong.
Network consistently ranks in the top tier. Is a shameful disgrace, and one we must fight head-on, Spanberger said in a statement. According to child pornography watchdog Internet Crimes Against Children Child Online Protective Services, the Defense Department network consistently ranks in the top tier of Internet service providers for trafficking child pornography. It ranked 19th of nearly 3,000 networks surveyed in 2018. Meadows said the legislation
like joining a House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, affiliated persons. So this Project Flickr, some 5,000 individuals have been identified as having subscriptions to child porn sites, including many DoD affiliated persons. So this ongoing national investigation has now prompted the House to introduce a bipartisan bill that would help the DoD stop the use of its network to, quote, possess, procure, or produce child pornography. Joining us to discuss this, investigative journalist Ben Swann. So Ben, the Pentagon already takes measures to limit worker access to stuff like porn by rolling out what they call the Personal Electronic Device PED policy, where workers have to drop off their phones and lockers before entering their offices. All their online searches are accessible by security if or when needed. Their Wi-Fi access is monitored in digital security sweeps. So how is this happening?
Well, it's happening because even though there is a certain amount of limitation on access, those who are working in the Department of Defense, clearly it appears to be thousands of individuals in the Department of Defense, are finding ways around this, specifically by using the Department of Defense IP addresses and also apparently peer-to-peer sharing within the department's network. So this study that was done on this issue, and it is pretty horrifying, Manila, to consider this. It shows that the Department of Defense ranked 19th out of almost 3,000 networks in terms of peer-to-peer sharing of child pornography. That is absolutely incredible. This bill attempts to essentially say, look, we're not doing enough to stop it from coming in, but we're also not doing enough in the Department of Defense to go after those individuals who are being recognized as the ones who are perpetrating this.
So Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger is the co-author to this bill. She said this, quote, the notion that the Department of Defense's network and Pentagon-issued computers may be used to view, create, or circulate such horrifying images is a shameful disgrace and one we must fight head-on. Now, the fact that the Pentagon workers, be they civil or military or otherwise, already submit to a gauntlet of daily scrutiny just going in and out of work. Is it fair then to the tens of thousands who are completely innocent to further allow that much more government intrusion into their digital devices or the things that they're dealing with on their computers?
Well, remember that what's being talked about here is not an intrusion into someone's personal device or even their home. This is about saying Department of Defense computers are being misused to share, to spread, to access child pornography. And when you step into an office, whether it's a Department of Defense office or it's the offices at RT America, wherever you go into an office, you do not have the right to simply use the technology within that office space however you want. And you certainly don't have the right to use it in a criminal manner. So essentially, this bill is trying to
people's lives at risk. They affect men, women, and children. Many have died already.
The Pentagon, the child porn on the Pentagon servers.
Come on,
bro. Supposedly they found more child porn on the Pentagon servers than they found on any servers.
Could there be
at high levels across a range of government agencies? Take a look at this, for instance, the National Security Agency, the National Reconnaissance Office, and the very secretive Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. Others also work.
Two-year-old and a 6-year-old. He was simply fired. One employee purchased sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child, he had his contract revoked. One CIA staffer was charged with child sexual crimes, and the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. But sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that two officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening in the general evil?
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
the CIA raping children and sexually assaulting children? And they're not being prosecuted? Where are you?
For that, we're not going to get graphic or anything, but we're just going to talk about what some of these allegations are. And really, the big story behind this CIA report, well, one of the stories is the lack of story. The fact that BuzzFeed reported on this, good for them. But obviously, it was covered up by intelligence agencies, and it has not been reported on widely. The Federalist reported on it. Some other journalists talked about it, but you probably didn't even hear about it. I only heard about it the other day, several days after it had been originally reported. And the fact that this isn't a huge bombshell that everyone is talking about is really disturbing. What is it? Are we just used to this kind of child sexual abuse? Has it become normalized? Has it become sterilized in some way that we just don't really want to talk about it? I do also wonder if any mention of pedophilia in the ranks of the intelligence world, or in the ranks of the government, or in the powers that be, has been so cleverly associated with conspiracy theory over the past several years. And part of it is because there are conspiracy theorists, like QAnon conspiracy theorists, who push ridiculous things that have also made it more difficult for people to raise actual allegations of pedophilia and sex trafficking and child sex abuse. But I do wonder if some propagandists in the media have done such a good job of tying any allegations of sex trafficking and pedophilia to conspiracy theories that most people just don't want to talk about it because they don't want to be seen as some Pizzagate QAnon person. And that in itself is evil. But the fact of the matter is that this is something that is going on. This is something that has gone on. So the loss of credibility that intelligence agencies have garnered over the past several years is something that they have brought on themselves. And this is the straw on the camel's back.
Experimental
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered.
That the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response. The brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just to be about triggering emotions. You could change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Another physician in Kansas City alluding to the same thing.
You do that, you can control them using neurolinguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War. You can call it a eugenics program even. But also walk them to their... They want to see if they can... Hyper game theory. How do you... They want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't.
This is a common breakdown tactic of belief systems and the human will. In no-touch torture, the techniques are more psychologically specialized for each target. Most common examples include homosexual targets that are forced with voices that are derogatory to their lifestyle and similar mental images. Almost all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds. And vice versa.
They use sex.
This technology can be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal,
sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat of planted dreams, images, and videos when I close my I also often see highly disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos when I close my eyes.
Example: artificial thoughts, imagination, and mental torture.
First of all, nobody develops paranoid schizophrenia in the 50s, in their 50s. This is, if you haven't developed it by 30, it's not. Then this technology exists. These nefarious programs exist. And it's hard to imagine for a person that why would you do something like this? But if you think about the new type of warfare,
cognitive warfare.
Exactly. It's a cognitive warfare. You don't have to kill people that you are fighting against. You can just degrade their brain. You can,
you alter their minds.
Yeah, alter their minds.
Personalities.
And it's like Chinese torture.
As I lay immobilized in my bed, spontaneous orgasms repeatedly all through the night, one right after another, with maybe around 1 hour of sleep or so. As I lay immobilized in my bed,
in my mind, I can hear my own voice. I told them I'm going to make you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to me and my family. Ben said this: the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ass. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children and homosexuals.
Frequencies, fields of all with external fields of all kinds. For radio frequency, you can look at the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century.
The trickery really is where it's into creating Manchurian candidates, split personality, and information curtains, satanic ritual abuse. Okay, so they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's. So they'll say we're the V2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all the stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
It's already being used. I mean,
if you talk to the victims, the TIs, one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
In terms of you being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, how do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that? I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, you're mentally sound as a bell. He said, I don't have any idea what's going on with you. When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2970, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing. It'd show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women.
Would style like an angry ass old person, then a couple of days later a female said the same thing, don't get shot in the face, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the Voice of Skull, it's a bunch of females, and I'm like, bro, really, you're not a woman, what?
For my entire life.
And I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture. And I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And I'm a victim of organized
We need
stalking,
this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment. And I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the US, in Illinois, and I'm a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture,
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutmann to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he